So in this video we will refurbish this Ingenious lock mechanism using the parts from the Refurb kit. Ingenious locks are fairly easy to identify. They have this gearbox type, double spindle with the top cutout, similar to some other manufacturers, but their hook cases feature hooks in pairs that work in opposite directions to each other, which is fairly unique and it makes it quite easy to identify these Ingenious mechanisms. So this hook is an upwards hook, this hook is a downwards hook, and they form a claw sort of motion. And the best place to start with the centre case, as usual, we're going to put the lock on its back, latch and hook bolt in the centre of this one, facing upwards, and the screws are non-security type T20 torque screws, so solid shaft, no pin in the middle, and there are 3 securing the centre case to the deadbolt, to the faceplate. The one between the latch and hook bolt seems to be significantly tighter on this mechanism, so be aware of that. Really was tighter on that. So yeah, these are micro encapsulated, so they do have a Loctite on them. So if it is a newer mechanism, be aware of that, they may be quite tight to get out. With those 3 screws removed, lift the faceplate clear and remove our centre case, and we can move on to our top double hook case. So these are secured with 2 T20 torque screws, top and bottom, and a central one in the middle, which I suspect may again be very tight. Oh no, that was relatively easy. Again, screws off, and we're going to lift our faceplate clear, remove our old locking point. All of the faceplates, driver rod sections should be captive on this. They shouldn't come loose when we remove bits. And our bottom opposing hook case, again, 2 T20s top and bottom, and then a 3rd in the centre. And then lift that clear, and we can then get the components from our refurb kit and begin to refurbish our mechanism. So this refurb kit contains our centre case, which is 9262 double spindle night latch and hook bolt gearbox, and then 2 of these opposing hook or double hook lock cases, one for the top and one for the bottom. So to begin the reassembly process, we'll start with the gearbox on its back, latch and hook bolt facing up, and we're going to lay the faceplate over the top with the countersunk screw holes dish facing up so that the screws will sit in them. And our drive rods on the back feature these T sections, which will line up with some pegs on the operating bars inside the gearbox. So the first one, the top one, will butt up against this central peg, and then the notches either side will sit over these pegs on the side. And at the bottom, the same, it will butt up against this plate here, and the notches either side will sit on those pegs. So get our aperture into position for the latch, drop it over the top, and position our drive rods so that they engage with those points. That's the top one in place. And that's the bottom one in place. And once they're sat in the correct positions, we'll need 3 of our screws, which are all the same size and length. And start with the top and bottom screws. Leave the middle one till last so that we clamp those drive rods into position. As usual, we're working with everything in the unlocked position on this mechanism when we're assembling. So that's our drive rod's locked in position and our gearbox attached. And we can move on to our bottom double hook case. So here's our hook case body. Again, we're going to lay faceplate on top. And again, we've got these T-shaped sections that will sit over these pegs like this. And at the other end, same situation, this T-shape with the notches sitting over the pegs. Get those into position. Once everything's where it should be. There we go, see? That makes more sense. Make sure that the hook cases are lined up with the apertures. So, one way around for that one. That's in the right place now. So 3 of our screws. Clamp that faceplate down onto the drive rods. Make sure the little top one's in for the chute valve extension. And we can move on to our top hook case. So again, we'll check this time which way round. So I think that's going to be right. It's going to be this way round. So we're sitting that drive rod on those pegs again. Our top section hooked in there, and our last 3 screws. And make sure those drive rods are clamped in position. And once they're home, we have refurbished this Ingenious mechanism using the components from our refurb kit.